Intelligence sources at the DNI inside of Washington are being told to focus on counterterrorism specifically. Like, don't worry about the Iranian war, just focus on what's going to happen in the United States, counterterrorism in the United States. And are we already seeing false flag attacks like that mass shooting in Austin, where it's convenient that that person's name was being searched on Google searches days before the attack? And he's wearing a, what is it, I Love Allah sweatshirt? Okay, so is this a false flag attack designed to stoke fear? Or are we legitimately about to see Iranian sleeper cells activated in the United States thanks to the last 4 years of wide open borders in the U.S.? We want to bring in former counterterrorism officer Drew Berquist now to talk about all of this, who's been watching this very closely. And I just want you to tell it to us straight, Drew. Like, I mean, are we going to see sleeper cells being activated? Are you seeing any signs of this from your experience in counterterrorism?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. It's good to be with you again. I think, signs now, not necessarily. Signs in the near future, very possibly. This has been a concern of mine long before we kicked off this war with Iran. And frankly, we've had sleeper cells here long before the previous administration, which was obviously a disaster. And then that whole issue was exacerbated, times 1,000. So, long has been the concern. Look, these guys from working overseas all the time that I did, spent most of my adult life overseas doing operations for the government and living and breathing counterterrorism and being around these guys, interrogating these guys, going after these guys. I mean, the amount of hate that they have for us is actually impressive. Like, you got to give them some credit. Like they're really good haters. But that's always been the case. Now you do this. Now you kick this thing off, and you've got a bunch of IRGC folks. You've got a bunch of lone wolf type folks who are maybe not as organized and as connected to IRGC, the Iranian Quds Force, but they're all here. So I would be more shocked than not if we did not see some form. Am I saying that every city is going to have attacks going on at their churches, their synagogues, their grocery stores? No. But this has long been a concern of mine that something is going to happen. The Austin thing, I think, is an outlier. And as you said, there's some oddness to it, but I do think that there is some stuff here that you should be at least concerned about, and that should just getting ahead of myself, and I've said too much already, Clayton and Natali, but like, you should always have your head on a swivel. You should definitely have your head on a swivel right now.
Well, right, because even if it's not an organized response inside the United States, one of the things, I was a liberal at the time when the Orlando Pulse nightclub shooting happened, and I bought the bullshit that it was a homophobic attack. It was not. This person was protesting U.S. drone wars inside Afghanistan. He was tired of seeing his own people being bombed, so he took it upon himself to shoot up an American location to let us all see what it feels like. The press lied to us about that, protecting Barack Obama, but it did, in fact, inspire radical responses. We can't blame that on any religion. We can't blame it on homophobia. It happens. And so some assholes on X are trying to fight with me and say, well, we really do need to go after radical Islam. We are inspiring it, and that will bring consequences. I just said what I think. Why don't you say what you think? Sorry.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, here's the problem with the GWAT, our whole global war on terror, and it goes back before that, right? Like, that global war on terror doesn't happen without some spats between America and jihadists and extremists before that. But the problem with this is, look, the Ayatollah, the mullahs, terrible people. Like, I'm glad Khomeini's dead. Like, that's great. Like, he should be dead. He's not a good person. But the problem is, which is hard for people to understand unless you've been in, and you don't have to have been in it to understand this, but is with, we saw it firsthand. We go and kill some dude who's a mid-level target. Maybe he's an HVT in Iraq or Afghanistan. His kids are now extremists. We will see his kids in 10 to 20 years. Like, this cycle never stops. So it's a really tough, that's where this thing is so complicated. This is not, United States versus a big state actor in Russia or China. This is an ideology against an ideology. And every time and we would do the same thing too, right? And I'm not justifying what radical jihadists do. But if you kill my father, I'm coming for you. And that's the bottom line. Like that's just how it's going to go. And that's how this cycle continues. And the same thing is true with, look, there's some good things being done right now. There's some bad things being done right now too. Like I think that we could handle this better. But at the end of the day, when you target another country who has people who hate us, who already hated us, but certainly hate us now in our country, there's going to be repercussions. And the same thing remains true for stuff that we're doing with the cartels now. You go after cartels in Mexico or in South and Central America. They also have people here. You run the risk of, it doesn't mean it's a guarantee, but you run the risk of when you do this or that, and that's a cost benefit analysis that someone's got to run, and hopefully they've done these numbers and metrics. Where you start to see some stuff here in America that we experienced overseas in war zones, and we expected there, but the American people aren't expecting or wanting to see here, and you can't blame them.
Early onset dementia and Alzheimer's are on the rise. Reports show a 373% increase in diagnosis among 30 to 44-year-olds and a 311% increase in 45 to 54-year-olds in the United States in recent years. And when doctors treat brain diseases, they often focus on medicating the brain itself, addressing symptoms instead of the root cause, which is chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. These factors damage brain cells, lead to the buildup of toxic proteins, the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. But much of the body, many brain diseases trace back to the gut microbiome. And there's a direct line of communication between your gut and your brain, which is where bacteria influence inflammation, mood, memory, cognitive function. I mean, read Dr. Perlmutter's great book on the gut-brain connection. I mean, it's all right there. That's why kimchi contains over 900 probiotic strains, and studies show its bioactive compounds help reduce inflammation. But a lot of people, maybe don't like the taste of kimchi because you're not South Korean. So that's where Brightcore created Kimchi One. It's actually a supplement. It has all the benefits of real kimchi in a convenient capsule. No taste, no smell, virtually no sodium, made in the U.S., non-GMO. And now you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link below in our description. You get 25% off your entire order. I take it every day as part of my supplement stack. You're going to get 25% off by going to mybrightcore.com/redacted. An even better deal, though, is if you actually call them. They'll give you 50% off and free shipping. Just get on the phone and call them. They're an American company. 888-404-6312. Get 50% off and free shipping. One more time, call them. 888-404-6312. Because it's over there, we're desensitized to it. It's like I've said this multiple times. It's my chicken at the grocery store analogy, but it's a nice piece of chicken breast in cellophane. People don't see the butchering process of it, right? So we are desensitized to it until, of course, body bags start arriving here at home, or we see terrorist attacks. I spoke to a senior level Customs and Border Patrol official today who said, you can't let in over 200,000 special interest aliens and not have large numbers of terrorists. 60 to 70% of the 12 million illegals that Biden let in were single adult military-age males. Let me put it this way. If I woke up tomorrow to learn 50 cities were on fire from terrorist attacks in the United States, I would shrug my shoulders and say, of course.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the outcome anyone with a brain would expect. And here's the thing, too, that I don't think enough people put enough emphasis on is we've seen how the American public responds to crisis. Whether you go back to, you look back, I always use the DC sniper case as an example. It was regional, yes, but that whole region shut down. If you have terror attacks, you have a dude clacking off in a grocery store and someone in a bookstore here and a church there, and this is happening across the country, the United States of America will not respond well to that. It will not go well. So there's a lot of rah-rah going on right now. We're the best military in the world. Hell yes, we are. We're freaking awesome. And they're doing some good things, but you've got to understand that with that comes the potential for this. And I think that's as someone who lived and breathed this world for a long time, and as a father and a husband now, that's my biggest concern. And again, I'm not saying I'm all for or all against all of this. I'm just saying when I see this stuff happens, my first response is, oh, crap. There's going to be some crazy stuff that happens now in this country that people aren't prepared for.
Yeah, I mean, you can only punch someone's, in the face so many times before they're going to wind up and clock you with a big uppercut at some point,
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a large swath of us now, immediately my people on X. Anytime we see something, we're like, false flag, false flag. We just don't know, right? But there's also a larger contingency that don't live online like me, who might believe it. There's somewhere in the middle that we need to live, and I don't know how to do that. Maybe I need to get off the internet.
I wish we all could, right? That would be the thing, because honestly, the answer typically is in the middle.
Yeah.
And the problem is you get online and you hear these two extremes, and then they get dumped into your algorithm because that's what you see, and you see those two things, and it's like most people really aren't there. But it is. It's like the truth is usually in the middle. Again, Iran is bad. Us attacking Iran has some benefits, but it also has some massive drawbacks too. And to think that there's none and we're just going to end this is very naive, and I would say foolish in thinking. And I also think you can execute it the right way and have it go a certain way, still with some possible and likely ramifications here at home. What I'm really curious about this whole thing is how we handle the back end, because America tends to get into a lot more stuff on the back end after we're great at bombing and killing people. That part's easy. It's what happens after that. And, from an overseas geopolitical perspective, that's where I'm really concerned and curious to see where things go. And I guess the proof will be in the pudding. We'll see here in time.
No, you bring up a great point. That was going to be my final question, Drew, which is the back end now, which is the United States. We know that, officers and the DNI are being told, focus on counterterrorism here in the United States. Like, don't worry about what's happening in Iran. Keep singularly focused on this counterterrorism operation in the U.S. From your experience, like, what does that look like? Like, what do the phone calls look like right now inside of like the counterterrorism offices in the United States?
Well, I think that you've got threat profiles that are always there in the different JTTFs that are across the country, which combine intel, FBI, local law enforcement, a bunch of different agencies.
And that's the Joint Terrorism Task Forces. Okay.
Yes, Joint Terrorism Task Force. So you've always got those operating. The problem is as a country, where we go wrong so often is we're really good at focusing on one or two shiny balls at a time. And if a big thing such as the JTTFs should never be shut down, they should always be ongoing, because again, we've got an ideology and we're talking the largest group of people on the planet. Not all of them are bad, but you've got a portion of the largest group of people on the planet who absolutely despise us. So, and obviously we've done some things to fester that hatred. So you've always got to have that going. But at any rate, like these guys have always been doing this. Now there's some extra emphasis on it. I don't think that changes a whole lot, other than it's just the problem is you brought up, we've discussed already multiple times in this discussion here. The U.S. government is only so capable. Like our intel who found the locations of the 49, whatever the number of leaders is that we killed, and some of the key installations. Great job, like really good job, bang up job on executing some of these folks and some of these targets, because you had to have all that dialed in before you're going to do that. But back home, when people come in and you have the influx, we were not good at it before. And then you add the influx under the Biden administration. Like, there's no fidelity on where a lot of these people are or who they are, because we have systems and databases that get thrown for a loop when someone's name's spelled wrong. And guess what? An American spelling, a Middle Easterner's name and doing it phonetically correct or phonetically the same every time doesn't happen. So you end up having all these things slip through the cracks, and then you bring in a crap ton of people. So they're doing their everyday thing, and maybe it's ramped up now, and it should be ramped up now. But again, you're kind of playing blind. Like, you've been like, hey, here's your badge, here's your gun, here's your duty belt. Here are the contacts we're going to give you, but now we're going to blindfold you and just kick you out into your area of operation. Good luck, because there's a bunch of people you don't know are here. And as a result of that, we typically are, as the United States government and as an intel community and even as a law enforcement community, very reactive.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly what we're seeing too. Again, speaking with Customs and Border Patrol, and what's going on with some of these ICE agents that have like almost no experience, just being thrown into trying to do arrests. Like they have no experience doing arrests.
None.
Like,
yeah.
Drew, great to see you. Thank you for your perspective on this. Keep your head on a swivel, and we should always be doing that and protecting ourselves. Watch out. All right, Drew. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate it.